What's going on, Logistical Nation? The Logistical Bear here. This is, of course, my new channel, The Logistical Bear Speaks. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It is the holiday season. Christmas was just 2 days ago now. Wow, how time flies. It's that time of the year where some of my brothers and sisters in arms, my fellow veterans, find themselves in a dark place. They find themselves feeling unwanted, neglected, or uncared for. Believe me, brothers and sisters, this couldn't be further from the truth. That's why I am posting this number right here, the Veterans Crisis Line. If you guys need somebody to talk to, I don't care what the problem is. It could be something well, you just need somebody to talk to. Or you could be having a real crisis. Please reach out to the good folks here at the VA. Call the Veterans Crisis Line. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you. On average, every single day in America, 22 veterans or active duty service members lose their battles with their inner demons and take their own lives. This is unacceptable. We need to do something to stop that. So throughout this this video, I'm going to leave this information right down here for you guys because it's so important. It's so important. One of the reasons I'm bringing this up is I just found that a young man I served with actually took his own life on Christmas morning after having an argument with his family. It's just, we got to do something for all our veterans. We know this administration's not going to do anything for them. Please, all my brothers and sisters, if you find yourself in distress, fighting with your inner demons. I know I fight my demons all the time. There's somebody that cares. There's somebody that wants to listen to you. There's somebody that wants to help you out. Please reach out right here to this number, 800-273-8255, and talk to somebody. They're there to help you. Now, all this being said, let's get into this video. There's been a couple changes recently that affect the trucking industry, the box truck industry, the hotshot industry. They keep saying that there's a shortage of drivers in this country, yet they're doing everything they can to force more and more drivers out or to make it more and more difficult to obtain your CDL. I want to touch on some of these changes that are coming up, especially the upcoming changes in February, the changes that just went into effect last month in November, and how this is going to affect many trucking agencies, or many trucking companies, I should say. I'm also going to talk a little bit about illegal freight brokers, so-called independent dispatchers, and I'm going to get into why they are illegal. All this and more right after this brief introduction. Alright guys, let's go back to the changes that went into effect in November. We're starting to see the full effect, the full implementation of the DOT, Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. Remember a thing that came out a couple years ago that all drivers are required to sign up for, that all carriers are required to check you against and report to if you refuse a drug test, if you fail a drug and alcohol test, anything like that. Now it's being put into full use. All states now have 3 years to roll this out retroactively. They have to look at anybody that has a CDL. They now need to review the records. Anybody that has a CDL, they have 3 years to implement this. Check you against the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. If you have any refusals, failures, or any violations in there, they are to immediately revoke your CDL and revert it to a regular passenger driver's license, meaning you can no longer drive commercial vehicles. You can no longer drive any vehicle requiring a CDL. What they're also supposed to do retroactively is look at your entire criminal history going back to when you turned 18. If you have any prior drug or alcohol convictions, you will also lose your CDL until you go through a DOT approved, an Fmcsa approved drug and alcohol counseling program. Depending on the severity of the program, this could be anywhere from a 2-hour online video course to a 90-day inpatient treatment facility or more, depending on the severity of your offense, how long ago it was, and a few different things. Once you go through that course, then you have to be cleared by a doctor to get your CDL back again, to go get a new CDL. You won't be reinstating your original CDL. It's gone. You start out new, fresh newbie, right off the books, just like you just graduated CDL school. And this, I've spoke with some people at the Fmcsa, and this does affect SAP drivers. Those of you that have already been through a program are also going to be affected by this. You'll have to take the new program. I think you guys just have to take the short program. It's like an hour, 2-hour long video. Take a little test and get approved by your doctor to continue driving. It's ridiculous it's affecting those. I mean, these people, they've already done all the steps. All the SAP drivers have gone through the rehab program. They've gone through the counseling. They've been cleared. Now they got to go through it again. It's double jeopardy for these guys is the best way to explain it. And it shouldn't work that way, but I'm being told that's the way it's going to work. Now, California has already outlawed non-CDL hotshots. You cannot run a hotshot truck through California, loaded, empty, pick up, drop off. You can't even go through California in a hotshot unless you now have a CDL, no matter what the weight rating is. And they're pushing this out. They want to do this nationwide. They want to wipe out the non-CDL hotshots altogether. And more and more states are cracking down on hotshots. And they are targeting them. I know I ran hotshot for a little while. Every time I went through Illinois, I get pulled over going down the road. Illinois Highway Patrol, Indiana Highway Patrol, I think Ohio got me a couple times too. Driving hotshot, but as soon as they seen I had a CDL, their whole attitude changed. They come up to me with this big chip on their shoulder. Here's my license, here's my permit book, here's my papers, this is where I'm coming from, this is where I'm going. Here's my logs if you'd like to see them. Oh, wow, you have a CDL. Okay, you're all set, sorry to bother you. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. But yeah, they're cracking down and targeting hotshots. They want hotshots off the road altogether. Another thing they're targeting now are box trucks. If you're running a 22-foot or longer box truck, even if you're rated 26,000 pounds or less, starting in February, you will be required to have a CDL. There's going to be no more non-CDL hotshots. There's going to be no more non-CDL box trucks. The non-CDL box trucks go into full effect starting in February 2020, 2 months away. Something else is going to start in February. As it is now, you can get your CDL on your own. You download the CDL handbook, the air brakes portion of it. You study the air brakes, study the general knowledge. Go to your local DMV or Secretary of State's office. Take the written test, pass it, get your tip or your temporary instruction permit, and then have your uncle, your neighbor, your friend, whoever you know that drives tractor trailer teach you how to drive truck. Then after a certain amount of time with them, you go take your road test, you pass it, you get your CDL. Well, that's going to come to an end in February. Starting February, you will need to take an Fmcsa approved 4-week-long tractor trailer training course. That'll be given by a university. Some of these little small, I know it's a lot more CDL schools are popping up all of a sudden because this new mandate going into effect. But in February, they're all going to shut down because they're not FMCSA approved. They're going to want you to go through your local university or colleges. The big trucking companies like CR England, Swift, CRST, Werner, I think, who was it, Crete. A couple of the mega carriers that do their own have their own schools, you'll still be able to go through those to get your CDL. You're looking at a $4,000 to $6,000 class you have to take, a 4-week-long class to get your CDL, and then it's going to be basically an apprenticeship type program where you're going to have so many hours on the road, so many hours driving, so many hours backing before you qualify for a full CDL to be able to upgrade from a permit to a CDL. It's ridiculous what they're trying to change here. Now, those of you that will lose your CDL because of previous convictions, it don't matter if you were 20 years old, you got a DUI or DWI, you're now 52 years old, you've been driving 32 years without a blemish on your record, with no other drug convictions, no alcohol convictions, other than that one time when you were 20 years old, driving home from the frat party, what have you. You lose your CDL. Now, starting in February, you're going to have to go through a CDL school to get your CDL license back. You will not be able to transfer, renew, or update your CDL license after February, unless you go through one of these schools. That's not right. I'm explaining that wrong. You cannot get a new CDL unless you go through one of these schools. But to transfer your CDL or to renew your CDL, because I just moved from Las Vegas, Nevada, up here to Anchorage, Alaska. That's where I'm at right now in Anchorage. They have to check you against the Drug and Alcohol Clearing Database, the Clearinghouse, to make sure you don't have any drug or alcohol convictions. They have to go through and check your criminal record to make sure you have no drug or alcohol convictions in any time in your adult life before they will allow you to transfer your license over, before they will allow you to get a tip, before they allow you to get a new license or to renew your license. They now must check you against the Clearinghouse, and they have 3 years to go through all the records and check everybody that currently has a CDL. Doing whatever they can to force drivers out. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why trucks have become so hated, so despised. What's those on the left? Face it. They want their stuff, but they don't want it brought to them in big trucks. I don't know how they think things are going to get around. They don't realize it's going to affect the price of stuff. Look at California. In just a few years, you won't be able to have a diesel-powered truck. All vehicles have to be electric. They're doing away with gas engines altogether in California. I think it's another 10 years. You will not be able to buy a gasoline-powered or diesel-powered vehicle in the state of California. Only vehicles they can sell in the next, I think it's 10 years, is electric. We're saving the planet. Really? Have you seen what they have to go through to mine the lithium that's used to build those batteries to power those electric vehicles? Oh God, the hypocrisy of it. They've outlawed small gas engines. You can't have a gasoline or diesel powered generator as backup electricity in your house if the power goes out. You can't have a generator for a camper or an RV if you're out camping. You can't have a generator at your campsite if you're out camping. You cannot have a gasoline-powered lawnmower, weed whacker, hedge trimmer, anything like that. It's all got to be electric. I don't know what's going on out there in California, but it's getting ridiculous. Let's talk about what's going on here with my freight brokerage ship. As you guys do know, I do have my broker authority, and this is something I want to address. I'm seeing, especially on Facebook, I get in arguments with this all the time. I wish I'd thought to pull it apart. Let me see if I can find that regulation. Well, it seems the group admins have deleted it already. Um, we have all these so-called independent dispatchers out there advertising their services, trying to get carriers to sign up with them, trying to get shippers to sign up with them. They are acting as illegally acting as brokers. A broker is a person or an entity who, for compensation, arranges for the transportation of freight on public roadways. Uh, to do that, you must have freight broker authority. Now, what these guys are doing, there's all these training programs that keep popping up all the time, more and more so on Facebook groups. Advertise, oh, join our dispatch program. We'll teach you how to be a freight dispatcher. We'll teach you how to make all this money. Well, the Fmcsa considers those guys unsafe. For one, they're not vetted, they're not insured. A lot of different issues going on there with them. I get in arguments with people about this all the time. I've actually posted the CFRs up there, the federal law that regulates it, that says, no, you cannot do this as an independent dispatcher. These guys are abusing the bona fide agent of a carrier clause, which basically says a carrier can use a dispatcher can find loads for a specific carrier and a specific carrier only. They can only work for one carrier. One. Not multiple carriers, like they are doing. To work for multiple carriers, you are not considered a bona fide agent of a carrier. You are a freight broker, which makes your business illegal. They are tightening down on it. They are cracking down on it under the IIJA, or the Interstate Infrastructure and Jobs Act that was just pushed through, that multi-trillion-dollar boondoggle that our great grandkids are still going to be paying for. They address part of that in there. They're strengthening the definition of it. They're putting out harsher penalties for it, and they are creating a new complaint system just to deal with complaints against independent dispatchers. Me as a broker, I had to go through a background check. I had to go through an application process and get approved by the Fmcsa. I had to get my authority. I had to get broker's insurance. I had to do a lot of stuff that these independent dispatchers don't do. They're not insured. They're not protected. They're not protecting themselves. They're not protecting the shippers. They're not protecting the customers or the carriers. Now, those fines start at $10,000 per occurrence. And that's not only $10,000 fine for the so-called independent dispatcher. They're also fining the shippers for utilizing their service and the carrier for using somebody that's not a bona fide agent of the carrier and is operating as a unauthorized broker. A lot of these people posting their dispatch service out there. I'll post a message of, oh, okay, well, what's your DOT number? What's your MC number? Let's check you out. Let's check your safety rating before we start doing business with you. We got to make sure you're legit and safe. They ignore me, or my post gets deleted. I get mocked and laughed at all the time. They're telling me, oh, you've been debunked. You don't need to be broker authority to do be an independent dispatcher. Actually, yes, you do. Just because one individual that runs one of these fake dispatch schools says, oh, I called the Fmcsa and you don't know what you're talking about. No, you didn't. Because they would have told you straight out if you asked them the question the right way. I don't know what he asked them, but independent dispatchers are working as bona fide agents of a carrier and only work for one carrier only. And it's not, well, on Monday I'm going to work for carrier ABC. On Tuesday I'm going to work for carrier EOS. On Wednesday I'm going to work for carrier DEE, and so on and so on. It don't work that way. You can only be employed by one carrier, period. By contract. You have to be contracted by them. And they're using those different carriers' authorities. Now, DAT is made a big mistake by allowing themselves to get talked into giving these so-called independent dispatchers access to posting loads on the load board. So has Coyote and a few of the other ones. they're starting to realize they did wrong, and they're shutting them down slowly but surely. If you're a carrier or a shipper and somebody contacts you looking to broker loads or to book loads for you or through you, get their carrier number, get their DOT number. Ask them specifically, are you a dispatcher or are you a broker? If they say you're a dispatcher, hang up. You don't want that headache. It's going to affect your CSA scores, your PSP scores. You're going to end up getting hit with fines, $10,000 for each and every. These brokers are going to hit $10,000 fines for each carrier they have, more than one. So if they're doing 5 carriers, they're looking at $50,000 fines there. I'm sorry, $40,000 in fines. Each one of these carriers, so they got 5 carriers. One of them they're legitimately working for. The other 4 they're illegitimately working for. Well, they're going to look at those 4 carriers and say he booked 10 loads with each one of those carriers. Well, each one of those carriers is going to hit with a $100,000 fine or more. They're going to go look at the shipper where you booked 20 loads to this guy for 5 different carriers. He's not a broker. So here you go. Here's $200,000 in fines for you. They're not safe. They're not vetted. They're not insured. You're not protected. Because the issues that have been going on and loads being lost and damaged, that's why a lot of shippers are now telling the carriers, or not the carriers, the brokers, that we have to carry contingent cargo insurance. These guys are only making it harder and harder for us to do our jobs, harder for brokers to work, harder for brokers to book loads. Now, as far as my personal brokership goes, I'm getting ready to sign 3 military contracts. So early next year, sometime probably January, late January or February, I will be developing a specialty fleet. I'm going to want drivers, dry vans, tankers, reefers, flatbeds rather. That my requirement is you must be prior military. You must be honorably discharged. You must be able to access military installations, because these will be military contracts. You will be hauling military equipment, munitions, other supplies, refits, restocks. You'll be hauling a lot of different military stuff, and I want to make sure that I'm going these loads to my brothers and sisters that could really use the work. America first, as Trump says. I'm starting to sound a little political here. I'm trying to keep politics out of my channels. I have multiple YouTube channels, and I try and keep politics out of them, but I mean, sometimes it just bleeds in. So yeah, check out my company's website, mpenterprises.us, and if you're interested in signing up as a shipper, please fill out the shipper packet. It'll be up in the documentations link. If you're a carrier, fill out that carrier packet, get it back to me as soon as possible, and we can start doing some work together. Alright guys, that's going to be it for now. I just want to jump in here, say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all my followers, give you guys a quick little update, let you know where we stand on things, let you know some of the changes that have been going on, because I've talked to a few drivers that don't know about some of these changes that have gone into effect involving the FMCSA rules and regulations. There might be a change coming up soon to the hours of service rules and regulations as well. There's a few changes in the works that I'm trying to keep an eye on. Alright guys, that's it for now. I'm going to let you go. As always, keep it between the ditches, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. I'll see you out there on the highway, and as always, go Army, beat Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.